So I've been meaning to do kind of like an open letter to the Young Turks because I used to be a paying member, and of course, if I pay for anything, I'm gonna fucking talk about it. You know, that this is where my money's going. I expect some sort of service back, and of course, they used to. Well, they still do ask for a lot of feedback. I did write this whole letter to the Young Turks and put it on my website, but then I ended up separating my websites and my content. So things kind of went all over, and then there's a whole commenting system issue. So I will leave a link to that. That's well thought out, but it is about 2 months old, so some stuff has happened. But I also wanted to do a video to show my emotion, I guess, and it'll be a little bit easier to find with video form. Some people don't like reading. So I have been paying for the Young Turks, or I used to be. I don't anymore. I used to pay for the Young Turks for years, and I have been watching them since before Obama went into office. Right before Obama took office, George W. Bush was going out. That's about the time I started watching them. I just found them up on YouTube. And they just seemed really legit and honest at that time. And they even went out and called themselves a talk show all the time. They even said, this isn't a news show, this is a talk show. They would say, go look at all these other places, check our facts, etc., etc. And now they're saying they're a news show, the number one news show, and they try to expand to so many different things. Well, that's a whole nother subject. There's just been so much stuff going on, and you can see that they do look like a news show because they did all these fundraisings, and they did get a lot of money from the audience, but they also got a shit ton more money from this conservative dude. And they did say before, if we take any money, our positions will not change ever. And they even, Cenk even quoted, I think it was it Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin? One of them. They had a newspaper. Somebody wanted, to show ads on it, basically, or buy it. And he was like, you know what? I slept on the floor, ate nothing but bread, drank water, and I can live with that if I don't have to take money from anybody else. It's my own words, and etc., etc. Cenk used to say that shit. And then when they took all that money, they said they weren't going to be influenced or anything like that. And some people in the audience were saying, nah, man, this is bullshit. And I was even on their side. I was on the Young Turks side. I was like, nah, let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens. And then the 2016 election happened. And I could kind of understand, because they even said in the last election, like, they had been railing on Obama, but then it was Obama and Romney, and they're like, you know what, let's just fucking go for Obama, because it is kind of 50-50, and it was really fucking close, because they were pretty much the same person. And so they did have that track record of just going Democrat, and they have been pushing Democrat stuff, even though they go, well, both sides do it, but, Democrats are a little bit better. Bullshit like that. So when 2016 happened, Bernie Sanders got cheated. Instead of really fucking railing on the Democratic Party, because there was actual proof that he got cheated and there was like illegal shit happening. It wasn't hearsay. All this 100% proof they fucking cheated Bernie Sanders. A person had to resign. The person who's still in charge hasn't resigned, I don't believe. I think she might have resigned from one position. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned. Donna Brazile, I don't think she resigned. She's still there, and she's a total hack. She even released a tweet saying that she's, fucking part of the elite, basically, more or less. And she was helping Clinton, giving her questions for CNN and stuff like that. And so all the stuff was proven, and they still said, the Young Turks still said, let's go with Clinton, because it's Trump. And that's when I was like, what? No, fuck this, I'm out. And then I kind of went with Jimmy Dore. And I understand Jimmy Dore is one of those people like Jon Stewart and fucking, pretty much everybody else who are like, well, I'm a comedian, but I can talk about politics, but you cannot hate on me because I'm a comedian. I'm not really a politician or even an educated person. So I do kind of hate those people. Those are kind of like Glenn Beck, talking head type peoples. But at the same time, I did want to listen to something that was going to keep giving me some sort of news. Because the Young Turks, they were still covering some serious issues. But then a lot of time went to Trump. And I know that they said, well, you can't hate on us for covering Trump because he's the president of the United States. Of course, that is 100% true. However, when you go on and on about bullshit Trump stories that don't matter, they never mattered in the primaries, they don't matter now, then it's a waste of time. Because fucking none of that shit's sticking to him. He's fucking Teflon Trump, man. That's just how it is now. You cannot put that shit on him. So you guys also have tried to push this Russia bullshit. And I say bullshit lightly because of course Russia tries to interfere in the elections. Of course multiple countries try to interfere in our elections. And of course 100% fact, the United States has been interfering in other countries' elections, and we continue to do that today. So shut the fuck up about Russia. With that being said, they try to say Trump and Russia is like fucking really linked together. There's been no proof of that. No legit proof. Just hearsay and just some kind of, oh well, there's a bunch of dots. Connect them yourself. And all that bullshit. And then the whole Mueller investigation happened just recently. And I saw all these videos on YouTube. Because, you know, like I said, I've been looking for other things, and I'm not just watching the Jimmy Dore show. You know, I've been expanding my horizons. But, you know, something popped up in my recommended list. It wasn't a professional person. It was just a person who does mashups. His name was Kid Show Business. So he did a bunch of mashups of the Young Turks and Jimmy Dore kind of button heads. And at first, it was fine. In 2016, it was fine. Because they would say, you can say whatever the fuck you want. It's part of the Young Turks network. You have the freedom to do that. And then they started saying, okay, agree to disagree. And then they're like, no, you're wrong. And now they're fucking outright saying, like, really fucking hating on each other. The thing that's really rubbing me the wrong way is how the Young Turks is the main show, and it's the Young Turks network, and there's all these other shows like the Humanist Report, Secular Talk, and there was a bunch of other bullshit that the Young Turks just wasted their time on and spread themselves too thin on. A fashion show, and then they ended up just cutting a bunch of people. I heard that they cut Nerd Alert and Kim Horcher, and I heard they cut all these other people. Like, they didn't really invest the time. They went quantity over quality in that stuff. But I'm going off on a tangent again. Anyways, this is the Young Turks network. They're all part of a network. The Young Turks is the main part of the show. Cenk is the fucking owner with Steve-O and, you know, other people. And Dave Kohler. Man, Dave Kohler does not get enough credit. Fucking credit to Dave Kohler all the time. Oh, yeah, and then speaking of Dave Kohler, I heard that he was like the man behind a lot of the tech and mailings and all that stuff. And I emailed them so many times to help out with their tech because I built my own website. I've been running my own website for the past 7 years. And just to help out with something. And they hire all these people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. I remember they took years to build a new website, which was the cheapest, easiest website I have ever seen on WordPress. Obviously on WordPress. So they got screwed over. And then I see behind the scene things. They're stuck in their LA bubble. They're using fucking Macs, which are overly expensive and unnecessary for video protection, especially if you're just this young or small YouTube channel. And like I was saying, they're just spreading out with all these different channels, Nerd Alert, that TYT Fashion, a pop trigger thingy, because they were saying that they had to cover pop culture bullshit stories so they can get ad revenue and then do the political stories. Well, I guess they weren't getting the revenue, so they cut all these things, what I've heard of. Oh yeah, and then the point, TYT Sports, what the flick? Remember, why are you talking about sports and movies and then TV shows? It was what the flick is movies, and then they started about talking about Game of Thrones as TV, and so they were going all over. And I specifically said I can help them. And then they kept hiring people that they just knew or were related to them. And I'm not just talking about Han, because he's pretty cool. You know, he did have a really fucked up beginning at first, but so did Cenk. And he was just related to Cenk. It was his nephew, so they hired him. And then Cenk's niece became a TYT ambassador or whatever, so she was just fucking checking the comments. And she got paid to do that. But they were bad at that. There was no actual really interaction with the community like there used to be when they were a little bit smaller, and then they got big and then just shit fucked up. So they're like the fucking heads, and they kept saying we're rebel headquarters, free speech, etc., etc. And then now with this stuff, okay, I can understand them saying you're wrong, I'm right, opinion, etc., etc. That's that, agree to disagree. But then there was this video by Kid Show Business that showed Anna saying she had to correct somebody on the Young Turks network. First off, you don't fucking correct anybody else on the Young Turks network. That's not your job. This is part of the Young Turks network. He wasn't on your show. He was on his own show. Second, you're not the fucking owner of the Young Turks. You're just, sure, you're one of the main co-hosts, but you're still a fucking co-host. You do not own the Young Turks. You're not a manager. And same with fucking, what's that guy's name? John Idarola. Because he was there when Anna was going off. She said she had to correct Jimmy Dore on the Russian stuff. And this Kid Show Business actually showed the clip they were talking about. Jimmy Dore is saying recently, all the stuff that Robert Mueller is guilty of is all tax evasion and money laundering and all this shit that has nothing to do with Russia. I looked this up myself on official, reputable news websites, and Jimmy Dore even listed it on his video, saying these guilty pleas, these counts, have nothing to do with the Russian meddling in 2016 election. Jimmy Dore specifically says this has nothing to do with the Russian meddling. Anna says, I have to correct somebody. This does have something to do with Russia because they're Russian banks, and so you're kind of connected to Russia, and you're still fucking drawing dots. Again, this is false. You cannot correct somebody and then fucking give a false statement for a correction. And the whole matter of that you even corrected somebody, that right there is what made me think maybe Jimmy Dore should leave the Young Turks network, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, should Jimmy leave, should he stay? And of course he should have fucking stayed, because at that time I was thinking, you can say whatever the fuck you want, you have this huge platform, you join the Young Turks here and there, all the other channels and other people from other networks join the Young Turks a lot of times. So I was like, hey, just fucking stay with them. It's cool. It's fine. You disagree. Who the fuck cares? But now, if this shit keeps happening, because they're showing multiple videos of them saying either Jimmy Dore specifically or other people on our network, because, Kyle Kalinske also talks out about this, and then they push this Russia bullshit. I've seen the Young Turks obsess over things in the past, like the things that did matter, like the whole George Zimmerman case debacle, but there's only a certain amount you can really cover it as a news show or even a talk show. Same with Rachel Maddow. She does nothing but fucking Russia shit back to back. There's only so much you can actually cover until there's nothing left to talk about, and there's nothing more that you can do. And that goes into my next thing, what you can do. And for the longest time, the TYT network, they're saying, we're just, commenting on other people's news stuff. We're not a news network, so now we're hiring reporters. So I guess technically now they are a news network since they have their own reporters. But they had crowdfunding to get those reporters. So does that still count as a news website? I don't know. Either way, they went all out with news reporters and all out with Justice Democrats and Wolfpack and all that. So they weren't just talking, they were actually doing. And of course, some of this stuff takes a long time. I don't expect them to be next year, everything is situated. My problem with this was with the Justice Democrats, they found some shit that Cenk Uygur and Dave Kohler said on a blog many, many years ago that were kind of sexist. And so they fucking pussed out and didn't say shit. And I remember Jake used to be like, I can't get into politics because if I did and somebody brought some shit up on me, I'd fucking be like, yeah, what? So what? And now this shit does happen. It's time to put money where your mouth is and stuff. And he bitched out. So huge amount of respect lost when that happened. Even more respect lost when they fired their reporter, their first reporter, Jordan Cheriton, because there was some there's a news story and allegations that he raped a woman or something like that in college. That stuff still hasn't been proven. I believe he's now suing the Young Turks Network because that stuff just came out, and instead of investigating it or doing anything, they just fired their reporter that was uncovering all this stuff. I mean, like, fucking think about that. You talk about politics nonstop. Whenever there's a scandal, it's some bullshit sex scandal, and you guys always bitch at the Democrats who cry and apologize and all this, and then this little thing happens, not confirmed, still going through, I believe, and you just fired him? So basically all this stuff is why I was just like, fuck this, I'm done with Young Turks. It's nothing but bullshit Trump stories, not legit Trump stories, bullshit Russian stories, a bunch of meaningless stuff. Like, I went to their YouTube channel. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's like doing the whole first hour for free again on their YouTube channel, so there's not really much of a reason to pay $10 fucking a month. Oh, and then somebody told me that they lowered the price, and then they didn't notify the people who were paying, so they're just paying a higher price. So they're screwing over their fucking fan base and their customers right there. Anyways, I went on their YouTube channel, and it was wall-to-wall Trump bullshit. Bullshit Trump stories, as I keep saying. But the thing that caught my eye was one of the videos said, "Thanks, Trump." And I'm like, oh, fuck. They've become who they hated. Those Republican people who are always like, thanks, Obama, and blame fucking everything on Obama. And of course Obama fucked shit up. Even the Young Turks, well, they used to talk nonstop about how Obama fucked shit up. And Brett Ehrlich, back when he was, I don't know if he's still on there anymore, but he would constantly call out the Young Turks, because the Young Turks would be like, oh yeah, but you know, the unemployment rate's low and stuff like that. And Brett was like, yeah, but these jobs suck. And this was when Obama was president, and people are hurting, etc., etc. That's why people were going for Trump. Then Trump became president, and now all the conservatives are like, oh, the unemployment rate's low and everything's great. So yeah, this is just a bunch of political bullshit. So I'm done with the Young Turks at this time. Not the Young Turks Network, just the Young Turks main show. I have been watching some other shows that are part of the Young Turks Network, and I have been kind of expanding my horizons out, looking here and there, and of course reading, not just looking. But sometimes I just like to listen to something while I'm multitasking. That's kind of like how talk radio bloomed. But yeah, if you used to watch the Young Turks or anything, or if you used to, feel free to leave a comment. And you can send this video to anybody on the Young Turks. I don't give a fuck. Let them know. My name's Hector Madrigal. Hector Madrigal. I used to be a paying member. Yeah, that's it. See you guys later.